Well, the family of former Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan has begun receiving friends and well-wishers, comrades at their home in Pretoria. Pravin Gordhan died in the early hours of this morning in hospital, surrounded by his family. Let's take you live now to the family home and to my colleague Iman Rapetti, who joins us now. Iman, good afternoon. We've heard glowing tributes at this briefing by the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. Trevor Manuel, Sheila Sisulu, Derek Hanekom, Kobisi Jonas, just some of his comrades in arms who have reflected on the man that Pravin Gordhan was. You, in fact, Iman, sat down with his daughter just hours after his passing this morning. What did she share in her reflections of her father?
Michelle, good afternoon. And it's so interesting, the juxtaposition of, as you say, some of those messages we heard hosted there by the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation at the Nelson Mandela Foundation, comrades and co-politicians who worked with him during his career, many decades, over 5 decades, in politics, sharing from their perspective his impact and his legacy. And then you go into the home of the family members. The mood is somber. They're still in the throes of understanding that this has all even happened. And we were very fortunate to be able to have that access and that permission to talk with them this morning. And speaking very frankly to his daughter a little bit earlier on, reflecting how even in this moment, understandably so, this is all still so surreal.
I think it's still feeling quite surreal, and I think there is a great part of my processing that's still in the denial phase. He had just retired and we were expecting to have a lot more time with him. I think if you've heard him speak anyway in the last few years, his priority was to spend time with his family. So I feel like in a way we were robbed of a lot of time and moments with him, and that's something that we're grappling with because the loss is immense. I've lost my best friend, and one sort of wonders how you continue, especially for my mum who's lost her soulmate, and we've lost the anchor of our family, and I think the coming times will be difficult for us to navigate, but I also think he has taught us and given us the tools to do that with.
And Michelle, there were a number of other areas that she touched on, including recollections from her childhood about the character of her father and things she saw in him that she wants to emulate in her own life as a public servant. The conversation did reach the point, a point that South Africans are very familiar with when it comes to his career and his legacy, particularly towards the latter years, around the criticisms and a number of the allegations also made against him and his performance. And here's what she had to say about how stress affected his health.
I think as resilient and as formidable as he was, that the incessant onslaught of these attacks, these unjustified, completely baseless attacks, really did affect his psyche. And although he didn't show it, not to me, not to my mum, because he always told us that he went through detention, he went through torture, and there comes a time when you're being tortured where you make a decision that you will rather die than give up any information. And when you cross that line where you would give your life up for this country, these attacks, you manage them with a lot more strength.
And our viewers can go to our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel as well to go and have a look at that full interview. And it really does paint the picture that the family wanted to share with the country about the Pravin Gordhan that they knew. We're here outside the family home. I can tell you it is blisteringly hot, typical for Pretoria at this time of year, I guess. But it's also very, very quiet. We've only seen one official-looking vehicle approach. I've not yet been able to establish who that is, but as soon as we do, hopefully we can have a conversation with them. But in the house that you see behind me, we understand that arrangements are being made. A marquee is going to be put up a little bit later on. In fact, those preparations are currently underway as the family prepares to receive well wishes and some of their comrades here at the house tonight. And they've also been very gracious to us. It's a very hot day with nowhere to sit, and they've brought out some chairs for us and just interested in our well-being, which I thought was very sweet and empathetic. But this is where events are likely to converge throughout the course of the night, and one can feel for the family. It's the first time that they are returning home after spending days in Johannesburg to and from the Donald Gordhan Medical Center with him at his bedside throughout his condition and then in his final moments in the early hours of this morning. And one can again only imagine what that's like to come home without a significant member of the family whose presence certainly took up a lot of space in their lives. And again, that interview talks a lot about the impact that he had outside of the public glare as a family man, as a husband, and as a father. We'll leave it there for now, and as soon as there are more guests that arrive, as soon as there are people to talk to and these events get underway, we will certainly come back to you.